German restricted areas worldwide after World War II. Thousands and thousands of German people. So we're not speaking about we have the Germans who went from Germany, like with the UFOs and the submarines. But then we have the Germans who were stationed in other parts of the world that never went back to Germany. And the soldiers and the elite units, they developed cities and regions worldwide. There's absolutely restricted access. Only they can go there. So the Allies knew about this after the Second World War in the 1950s and 1960s, and all the reports since 1945 until 1990. When the Soviet Union collapsed, and the Americans know this, the British, the Russians, the French, the Germans after Germany was separated in two. And there's reports, and I didn't know this, and all the information is only in German. Only in German. There was a slight bit of information in English and French in the 1950s and 1960s, but very little, like some newspapers here and there, in a time where there was no internet and nothing. And afterwards, nothing, zero. And in the 1970s and 1980s, there was more information about this in German, but it stayed in German, and nothing was translated from German. Regions of the world where the people after the Second World War, the soldiers and the units that were stationed in Africa, for example, and then people who went to South America and people who went to Asia, and there's like these, as you know, the earth is super big, and there's these places which are like total wilderness, like normal people, like if you live in there like a native, a citizen, you don't even have a clue about these places. Like they're so far away in the wilderness, whether that's like in the desert or like in the jungle or like in areas where you have no access, and even if you manage to get there, you don't come back, and you're not allowed to go in. It's super restricted with their own economy, own money system, own like technology, and of course they have technology with like German flight technology, which is like what we call the UFO technology with electromagnetic vehicles. It's amazing. I'm going to try my best. So I have all the information. Everything is in German, so you have to give me time. I'll try to make as many videos as possible. I was like trying to see, should I speak more about other things, or should I just focus for now on the German restricted areas? But when I saw this information about German only the Germans can live there in several parts of the world, not just like in an isolated place like Antarctica or something. In the world, like you have countries like in South America or like in Africa or like in Asia, and even Europe and north of Europe, where there's only German, but not Germans like from Germany today, which I guess they also have like contacts, but like the Germans from the Second World War who never came back to Germany. They never went back. They never surrendered. They stayed there with their equipment and their weapons and stuff. It's so amazing. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And when you see detailed descriptions with the locations, of course the locations in the sense of not the exact location, but more or less like the region, with how many square kilometers, how many people, the interactions, how even the natives of some of these places, they receive orders from the Germans, and they have like an alliance to secure the perimeters and stuff, how they managed to live and what they constructed in these areas in the 1950s and 60s. And the Allies know about this. They knew about this. The Allies, after the Second World War, the intelligence reports, and the Allies were not able to infiltrate these areas. Like they would send agents from the Allies, right? And the agents would never come back. Of course, they would die, right? Or they would just like stay there with them. Because like there's even like reports about certain agents of the Allies who were infiltrated and they never came back. But some of them never came back because they stayed. They preferred to stay with the Germans there in the German areas than to come back. So I would stay as well. If I was like an agent and be a spy and infiltrate, I would just stay with the Germans there in the restricted areas. Like they're so restricted. Like there's no way you can go in unless you're invited. Like literally, it's not up to you to go. Like if you're invited, you can go. If you're not invited, bye. You have no chance of ever going and being part of those guys. So it's amazing what happened after World War II. And the areas in the world where they only speak German, and everything is like with their own system and technology, and there's no like the banking system doesn't exist there, and it's just fascinating. I'll do my best. I'll give you specific texts once I have the text in English and translated with like the specifics. It's going to take some time, but it's absolutely fascinating, and all the information is in German, and nobody cares about this to translate it, to speak about. I do. I care. Like, I should have like done this years before, because this information is available since the 1980s. It was available after the Second World War, but it was not compiled. So in the 1970s and 80s, Germans compiled it, probably because they had contact, and then it was available since the 1980s. But nobody cares about this, because you have to, like, these agendas of the UFOs and stuff, like we see in on TV and the news. I hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I do, because it is absolutely astonishing. And it's just, it takes time. You have to sacrifice your personal time to read and to understand. And then if you want to share it, then of course you have to do English videos from German. So yeah. Ausgezeichnet, as the Germans say. And if you're German watching this video in English, I mean, you don't have any contact with these guys, of course, even if you're German. But lots of respect for your kind, because... these guys are just amazing. See you in the next one.